Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in my previous video, I spoke about shared ownership, and that was off the back of a poll that I did on my Instagram, basically asking people whether they were for or against the scheme. Now, following on from that sort of poll and the whole conversation about the shared ownership scheme, that actually triggered another conversation about the government help to buy equity loan. So the help to buy loan conversation was triggered when one of my followers then responded to my story saying basically that, I'll throw a curveball in, even with these help to buy schemes, you don't truly own your own home because you have to pay back the loan with interest, and on sale you must pay the full loan. Shared ownership, you can find extremely low rent, and on sale you will make a profit that's completely yours. So clearly this is somebody that's speaking from experience of having gone and bought her first home with the help to buy equity loan, but actually is quite dissatisfied with the product. She then even went further to say that basically if she would have had more information and known a bit more about the negatives about the help to buy equity loan, she wouldn't have gone for it. So that really triggered a big conversation. So off of the back of what she said, I was triggered and I thought, okay, let's put this out to the public, to my followers that is, and ask them what they think about, the help to buy scheme, whether they're for or whether they're against it. Now, the results of the poll was that 38% of people were for it and found it helpful, whereas 62% of people were against it and they said they wouldn't touch it. So with this poll, there's clearly a lot more balance in terms of how people feel compared to the whole shared ownership scheme. But the thing is that when I asked people why they felt, the reason why they did, there was a lot more negative responses than there were positive. So that's a little view for you in terms of what my followers personally think about the help to buy a loan. Now, this video is not supposed to be biased or just focusing on the cons of the scheme, and so I'm going to do a bit of a reset and first talk about the argument for the help to buy scheme, what is it for, then I'll move on to the pros of the scheme, and then I'll finish off with the cons. So the cons in terms of things that may have not been mentioned earlier or were not given enough context. So what is the help to buy equity loan? So this loan is basically a loan that enables you to be able to buy your first home with as little as a 5% deposit, because the government will give you the rest. So if you can only put together a 5% deposit and you need maybe 20% to get a decent mortgage, the government will give you that 15% as an equity loan. The loan is also only available in new builds, so that means that you will get a new house, you'll be the first person to live in it. And when paying off this loan, you can either decide to do it all in one go, or you can pay it in 10% chunks, also known as staircasing. Now let's talk about the pros of the government help to buy scheme. Now the first advantage is that basically you can get a home with a small deposit, so as little as a 5% deposit can get you your first home. Now this is going to be really helpful to those that especially may not be able to buy without some assistance. As well as that, I don't think there are currently any 95% LTV mortgages around. There was once some mortgages like that, but in this current economy there's nothing like that. And so being able to enter this scheme will allow you to be able to put down as small as a 5% deposit while the government give you the rest in order to be able to buy your home. The second advantage is that you can buy your home a lot sooner. So now you don't have to wait until you've saved up 10% or 15% for your deposit. As long as you've got 5%, you're good to go. Third advantage is that you get a new build property. Now, if you're really keen on getting a new build, this is the way to go about it. So you'll be the first person on the property, everything's nice, sparkly, clean, new, perfect. And so if this has always been your ideal, then you'll definitely want to go for it. The next advantage is basically that you can get access to cheaper mortgage rates. So if you're somebody in particular who can maybe only save a 5% deposit, back in the day, if you're still even able to get a 95% LTV mortgage, you would have had to go for the more expensive deals because your deposit is so small. Whereas now, if you put down your 5% deposit and the government give you, let's say, 20% or 15% to make it a more common type of mortgage product, then you'll be able to get better mortgage products that are more affordable for you. Now the final advantage is basically that the loan is interest free for the first 5 years, and so you can easily move into your home and then create a solid plan for paying off that loan within the first 5 years so that you don't have to start paying that interest. Okay, so now hopefully we've got a general gist of how the help to buy equity loan works, the pros of it. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about the cons. Now, the first disadvantage is basically that the scheme is only limited to new build homes. Now, to be honest, this is only going to be a bad thing if you're somebody that's not too keen on new builds for whatever reasons. Maybe it's that you don't trust what you're hearing about the materials that they're made from and things like that. Like, whatever it may be, if you're not keen on them, you want an older house, maybe something that you can add to, refurbish, then yeah, this is not going to be for you because they're only offering new builds. Second disadvantage is that you pay interest on the equity loan after the first 5 years, and so it becomes increasingly expensive. I think in year 6 you pay 1.75% interest each month, and then from year 7 onwards it increases in line with the consumer price index, and then plus an additional 2% or something like that. So yeah, it gets increasingly expensive if you do not manage it and pay off that loan within the first 5 years. Next disadvantage is that the equity loan payments, the ones that you make on a monthly basis after 5 years, are interest only. So they are not making any repayments towards your actual loan, you're just paying interest. The next disadvantage is that part payments of your loan must be at least 10% and based on what the property is worth at the point in time, not what you bought the property for. And so let's say you bought the property for 200k, but at the time that you're going to pay off 10% of your loan, it's now worth 250k, you're paying 10% of 250k and not 10% of 200k. Now, the final disadvantage is that basically you must pay off your equity loan before you can sell your home. So in a sense, it's like you're trapped. If you haven't paid off your equity loan within the first 5 years or whenever, like, you cannot sell that house. So you need to make sure that you have a plan in place to pay off your equity loan as soon as possible. So guys, that is it from me. A little exploration into the government help to buy scheme, and we looked at the pros and the cons. Hopefully you found this useful. If you know of anything else that maybe I've missed out in terms of the advantages and disadvantages, then please do note them down in the comments. Please do also give this video a thumbs up if you found it useful, and if you have any other topics that you'd like me to cover on this channel, please do also note them down in the comments. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Bye.